Hi, welcome to episode 26. It's going to be a good one, this one.
This is going to be a long episode. Yes, there is a lot to say.
I mean, they've all been good, but this is good.
Yeah. So, in the last episode, we saw that Yeshua spent a month with Mataji doing some kind of tantric initiation.
Right.
I hope our audience enjoyed the details about
and
what
maybe
happened.
looked into it a little bit.
Yeah. So now Yeshua is on his way back to Meruvardhana, and he has been walking for a few days, and he's finally reaching the mountain of Solomon, which is overlooking the lake, and he feels like he's coming home. I mean, the lake, the surrounding mountains, and the small villages all around the lake are a sight that he doesn't get tired of. He really enjoyed that place.
There's probably something to that, right? Probably past life there. And,
yes, I'm thinking that you're right.
Probably a really good one.
Probably previous incarnations, yeah. And I guess it must be a very nice, you have the mountains, you have the lakes. I mean, everything is probably
That's what I want.
very enticing. Yeah.
That one's the lake.
It's a good compromise, yeah. So our Yeshua is now, very cold, and his clothes are torn, and very rarely he decides to use the paramukta and to change his wardrobe. So he's going to materialize a new coat identical to the one he had before, a new robe, and some new sandals. And always, as always, just what he absolutely needs,
Yeah. He doesn't abuse it.
Right.
He's very humble.
Yes. And he doesn't want to enter, Meruvardhana as a hobo.
Right. Yeah, he wants to get cleaned up.
He wants to look decent.
Yeah, of course.
And he does that by raising his arm toward the sky. And, with his will and everything, he turns his hands, and the fabric comes out of the air.
Just disappears.
Yes,
oh my
you
gosh.
just have to pull it, down to him. Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And magical.
So again, this is what is called the paramukta.
Paramukta.
Okay? Yeah, that's this incredible powers, or gift that you can get. Yeah. So he finally enters the little village of Meruvardhana, and he finds the town beautiful as always. He's going to drop his bag into one of the temples, Again, for the audience in India, you have temples. You always have a little place where you can rest, leave your belongings, sleep free of charge. And then there is also 2 meals which are given to you, at least
nice.
at that time. I don't know if they still do it today.
Yeah.
And he's going to walk in the streets. And while walking and enjoying the place, he's wondering about his family and his mother mostly, because we saw that his father passed away, right? So it's mostly his mother and brother and sisters, yeah. And he realized that he could have stayed in the town of Meruvardhana for the rest of his life. I mean, he likes it so much, However, there is an energy which is pushing him to go back and continue his journey.
His calling.
Yeah, his journey back to Galilee,
Right.
So, but he decides to stay a few more days in Meruvardhana, and which is today the city of Srinagar in Kashmir. Okay. So on the third day in the market, he meets someone in the market, a familiar face.
Oh.
Can you guess who? Melkus.
No. Oh, Melkus.
Melkus, yes.
Melkus is back on the scene.
Melkus is back, yeah. The people who have been following our episodes may know Melkus. He was the leader of the Caravan.
He's the one who brought him out there.
Yes, who basically took Yeshua from the south of Jerusalem all the way to Meruvardhana, actually. And so Melkus hesitates to recognize Yeshua and finally prosternates himself at his feet. And again, as usual, Yeshua does not accept that, so he lifts Melkus up And the two men, hug each other, and Yeshua is wondering how Melkus is again in Meruvardhana, because he knows that Melkus is a desert fox, always moving around.
He's coming and going.
And finally, the two men are going to be sitting in front of a temple to tell each other their respective adventures and stories, And Melkus explains to Yeshua that after leaving him and Yosheram, he had returned west to Jerusalem.
Oh, he went back.
He went back to Jerusalem, where he continued working for the uncle of Yeshua, Yusuf of Arimathea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So again, for the audience, Yusuf of Arimathea is a very wealthy businessman. He's mostly doing a lot of business in trades. He's extremely wealthy. He plays the pivotal role in the life of Yeshua. He's the one who finances his caravan and his trip to India.
Okay.
And we will see in the future that he's going to be also extremely important in the life of Yeshua. Yeah. And so Melkus is employed by Yusuf of Arimathea, and Yusuf uses Melkus, and the caravans to bring silk, spices, and whatever they need from India all the way back to the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how they do. So he worked for 3 to 4 years, and he made enough money with, leading caravans, so that he decided to retire.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And not surprisingly, but Melkus enjoyed Meruvardhana so much that he decided to settle there.
Oh boy, both him and Yeshua.
Yes, he and Yeshua, yes.
Have this
funny,
calling to the same place.
And so Melkus married a woman of his religion. He had some children, and he became a shepherd in a small village in the mountain called Yuzmog. So we will try to post some maps also indicating where those villages are located, yeah. And from time to time, his nomadic soul is calling him to lead another caravan. So he does it occasionally, from time to time. And he's making some business too. And so Yeshua is very happy with the outcome, the life of Melkus, and he finds him very balanced, wiser, and perhaps because he's married, he has kids now, deeper, and he's extremely happy to find him again.
Oh,
it's
I'm
like
sure,
it's like a
finding
great
an old friend.
Exactly,
in this village.
And Melkus explained to Yeshua that his transformation is entirely his fault.
His fault.
Yes, it's his fault. Because of all the discussions they had during the first caravan when they came to India,
Right.
And Melkus tells Yeshua, you are not normal. Do you understand that?
You're not normal?
And so Yeshua responds, and now, do you find me normal? And Melkus says, oh no, it's even worse
It's
now.
even worse.
It's even worse.
It's funny how you can pick up on that.
Yeah,
right?
but your gaze, your eyes, they have not changed. This is why I recognize you. And so Yeshua responds and he says, Melkus, I'm planning to go back to Jerusalem. Oh, Yeshua, Melkus says, I was hoping you would stay here with me,
Let's not go there. It's going to be too much trouble over there. Yeah.
And Yeshua tells Melkus, Melkus, it's impossible for me to stop. I'm like a tree full of fruits, but all my roots are on top of the ground.
Oh.
I have to move.
Oh, that's really interesting picture to have in your mind.
After all these discussions, Melkus invites Yeshua to come to his home and meet his wife, Yasmina, and their 4 children, and probably also all the goats and sheep that he's keeping. And so both of them, go and spend about a week in the little village of Yuzmog, where Melkus lives, And during that stay, Melkus at one point offers Yeshua to go with him all the way back to Baal Baktar, which is one of the big cities they went through during the first trip. Yeah. And so Yeshua is absolutely relieved, by his offer, because again, the providence is offering him this opportunity and answering his request, because he was really concerned about how he was going to go back, to the south of Jerusalem.
Right? When you're in your divine, flow, everything just kind of falls into place.
So 1 week later, they are back in Meruvardhana from the little village where Melkus is living, and they are preparing a small caravan to go to Balbaktra. And again, we will post maps, to show people, the kind of itinerary what they are doing. But Yeshua is going to do about 4,000 kilometers and more on the back of mules and camels again, Wow. It's a long trip,
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, this time they are using mules because they are still in the mountains, and the camels cannot be there. And the mules are loaded with food and goods, Melkus being
he's an expert.
A trader, I mean, he's going to put all the silk and spices he can on those animals and try to do some business with that, And so Yeshua is very sad to leave the lake. And he's even wondering if going back to Galilee and to Jerusalem is such a good thing. He has second thoughts about that.
It's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, he really fell in love with this land, the lake, the mountains of Solomon, and the diversity of beliefs and devotion that they have in that place,
Right.
Again, for the audience, in Meruvardhana, they follow the Hebraic traditions, but they also do Hinduism, Buddhism, and perhaps some other small religion, So he has a lot of reserves about going back to Judea, and he's at one point he's even concerned about being perceived as a wart. That's his term. Okay. He thinks that to the land where he was born, he thinks that the people are going to consider him as an oddity, something that should not be there.
Right.
And we know that this is going to happen.
He's getting some premonitions there, right? That's preparing him.
So they decided to go. The caravan starts again back to Balbakra, and Yeshua was hoping for some silence during the return. But Melkus is unstoppable, and he keeps talking and giving him all the details of his life.
Every last
details.
And Yeshua has been traveling by himself for a long time.
Yes.
He's been in the mountains with other sages. Everybody's quiet. Nobody really talks. So
Yeshua realized that he has to get used to the presence of other human beings. Because for the past 4 years, he has been in a cell.
He's been
in the Himalayas. He was a recluse. And so solitude is good, but after a while, you become really a recluse. And so anyway,
you have to get acclimated.
But he also realized that being with Melkus and seeing a few people is also inhabited by a certain happiness and a certain balance, and he watches all the unfolding of the everyday's drama with tenderness and I would say a high altitude vision,
right?
Saying, okay, well, all these people are happy, somehow, they managed to live,
right.
And so they're going to arrive in the city of Takshashila. We saw that during the coming, the first leg of the caravan. And Melkus, of course, is going to do some bartering and business.
Right.
In the meantime, Yeshua goes back to see the statue of Gautama.
Oh, okay.
And we will be showing a picture of that statue, which is still around. And after that, they quickly leave for Balbaktra because the cold season is approaching. So they don't want to be stuck.
They don't get stuck,
the snow and thanks God. After a few weeks of talking, Melkus finally becomes silent.
He ran out of things. I think I got you all caught up.
And Yeshua realized that the old fox of the desert, because that's how he calls him, he calls Melkus the old fox of the deserts, is finally offering his heart, in the silence. And Melkus is in fact thirsty for peace, softness, and sacred, I would say he's probably a good disciple of Yeshua.
Yeah, he sounds like it.
Without being, an official one.
Right.
He has been soaking all the wisdom and the knowledge of Yeshua, and trying to make it his own wisdom, And so they arrive in Balbactra, and they're going to part with each other because Melkus is not going to go any further, right? And so it's very sad and emotional farewells between the two.
Right.
But again, I don't want to unveil anything, but
they're going to see each other again?
They're going to see each other again in the future, yes. Yeah. And they realize that, they benefited so much from the company of each other that it's really hard to let it go,
Right.
And so, again, chances is helping Yeshua. He's going to find a small caravan, which is aiming for the Sea of Edom, which is in the south of Jerusalem, with about 20 dromedaries. So, and they are loaded with silk and spices again,
His favorites.
Yes. So this time he's no longer on the back of a horse or a mule.
No, he's got the camel.
He's back to the camel, And so the time is going to pass again, It is endless, about, again, 3,000 miles going through all these deserts, It is an endless route lasting months. I mean, it is so long that Yeshua loses track of the time.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, we know he's about 30 years old during the caravan, So, I mean, it takes forever. And he realized the caravan crew are very rustic,
Rustic.
Yeah, there are really no exchanges.
Oh, they're on a different level.
Yeah, they are completely different level, and there is no connection with them.
Okay.
Yeah. So they respect Yeshua because they understand he's some kind of magician.
Magician.
Yes, magician that is protecting them from the evil eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is, their way of thinking.
I wonder why they thought that. I wonder why they...
Well, the reason is because Yeshua is still performing healing. Oh. So when somebody is feeling sick or when they meet someone who is not doing good, Yeshua is going to go there and heal that person, So they respect him as some kind of magician, And one of the crew, at one point even called Yeshua a rabbi.
Oh.
For the first time, but he's doing it as a joke, He's saying, "Oh, you're like a rabbi." So this is like, Yeah, this is the first time that Yeshua is called with that name, And for Yeshua, this long journey is the last chance he has to meditate, pray, and he was also creating all the little stories, that he will later use for his teachings.
Okay.
Because, when you have months and months of being on the back of a camel, you have a lot of time
to manifest what you'd like to have,
exactly,
right? What you need to do.
And finally, one day, they see the Sea of Edom, and behind them, the mountain of Moses, And so, it's almost the end of the caravan, almost the end of the trip, And it is springtime at that point. And the nights are very hot already, This is quite a different weather, right? This is the south of Palestine. And so we are back to the deserts. And Yeshua, during the night, gets outside of his tent. He wants to breathe some fresh air or whatever he can. And he sees a big rock not far away, and he leans against a large rock and falls asleep, exhausted. Okay. And his soul gets out of his body, like we do most of the time when we sleep. and his astral body is drawn behind a rock, and he discovers a human shape behind the rock in the astral plane. And that human shape is Elohim.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And we know Elohim as the extraterrestrial presence, which is overlooking and watching the development of the plan and protecting Yeshua as much as possible.
Okay.
So he sees the eyes, again, the same long blonde hair, and the feline attitude of the being, And Elohim tells Yeshua that it is not yet the moment to go back to Galilee and to go back to Jerusalem.
Okay.
Yeah, he has something else to do. He said to Yeshua, you wanted to become a cup for the divine, and you have become the cup.
Oh.
And that cup now needs to be filled with the sun.
Okay. I sense some downloads, some energy coming through. Something's happening.
something must happen. Yeah. And Elohim tells Yeshua, you have to go to Alexandria again and go back to that village where they taught you when you were an infant. And they will tell you what to do.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's it. And Elohim disappears immediately, and Yeshua is pulled back into his body, So the communication between the two ends very abruptly. Yeah. So in the morning, Yeshua wakes up, he goes to the caravan crew and tells them, he announced to them that he will not finish his trip with them. So they are disappointed, because I guess they got used to it after a while, But they are okay that he leaves as long as he does not take the camel with him. No, they want to keep the camel. So Yeshua will have to finish his trip walking.
Oh no.
Yes, walking with his little bag. Yeah. So Yeshua, is sharing some of his thoughts, and is very disappointed by these men because they have shared, the thirst, the coldness of the night, the extreme fatigue, the endless months together on those trails,
Right.
But never have they shown any inclination to learn about the divine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it leaves a bitter taste in Yeshua's mouth. I guess he's so used to people being receptive to what he teaches,
Right.
and at least having some kind of interest. Obviously, that group was not at all interested.
In the beginning, I think he kind of realized that too,
Yeah,
right? He felt like there wasn't much in common.
And then when they see him disappearing, in the distance, walking in the desert, on his way to Alexandria, they tell him that he's crazy.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that, yeah. So
they just don't know.
Yeah, they just don't know.
Yeah.
And again, we will be posting maps to show what he's doing, walking and so forth. Yeah. So he's going to walk for about 3 weeks all by himself, and he's going to stop in small oases, in the desert, located mostly north of the Mount Sinai, right? And he's going to arrive to what is called the Gulf of Aqaba, which is, I think it's the current name that it is being used. And he's going to cross that gulf with a little boat and some fishermen.
Oh, okay. So he's not going to walk the whole way
No,
back.
no, he can't. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you have to cross
That's a lot.
that. It's a leg, it's like a long bay, a leg of sea that you have to cross. Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's going to walk through the Nile Delta. And the Nile Delta is extremely wide, very spread. And he's going to cross the Nile again on a big canoe with some people doing potteries.
Oh.
So, I'm just relating the detail.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he's going to wander through the papyrus and the swamp.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is endless, extremely hot. Again, Yeshua spent most of his previous years in the Himalayas, in the cold. Yeah. So his body has been used to the cold.
His blood is still too thick.
Right. And he's really suffering from the heat of Egypt,
bet,
especially because it's the beginning of the summertime,
Right.
so it's extremely hot. But he's full of energy and he's going to continue his journey. Yeah. He finally arrives in Alexandria and he looks for a fountain to clean his legs, which are covered with mud after wandering in the swamp. So he wants to, at least
Get a little
look
cleaned up.
presentable, yeah. And then he explored Alexandria a little bit and he realized it's a very rich city with an extremely strong Greek influence.
Okay.
So a lot of people speak the Greek language. It's something which is also very unusual is that, like in the US in the modern time, all the streets are crossing at right angle.
Oh, okay.
So, it's like
Right.
like we have in modern cities
Right.
in the United States, yeah. Which of course is very different from everything he has seen in India and anywhere
it's
else.
like everywhere. It could be.
And he realized that even the so-called famous city of Jerusalem is very pale in comparison with Alexandria.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so during his visit of Alexandria, he tries to find a spiritual community, and they tell him to walk south to another little lake. And he's gonna, again, another walk. And he finally arrives in a small village with about 30 houses, And at that point, lots of memories are coming back to him because this is the place where he was taught when he was an infant, from the age of 1.5 to 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or 4 years old, something like that. And he crosses the main street, the only street of the village probably. And then there is an old man sitting on a bench and he hears Yeshua, walk. And Yeshua realized that the old man is blind. He has a stick, on the side. And the man says, "Who are you? Are you coming from far away?" And Yeshua responds, "My name is Yeshua, and I am effectively coming from very far away."
Yeah.
And the old man said, "Oh, then that is true."
Oh, he had a premonition too, huh?
Yeah.
No, it's coming
And the
true.
old man says, "You are the son of Yusuf and Miriam."
Oh, okay.
And Yeshua responds, "I am him."
He's not even surprised at this man saying this to him.
No, the old man grabs Yeshua, and leads him to his little white house, in the village. And he asks Yeshua, "Do you remember Yeshua, Yusuf ben Yusuf? This is where I gave you your first lessons."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he calls him Yusuf ben Yusuf, which is the official name of Yeshua when he was born.
Right.
Yeah, he took the name of Yeshua later on after having this first encounter with the Elohim
Okay.
in the mountain of Tabor, So Yeshua, is now remembering all this stuff. I mean, it's coming back to him, like an avalanche of memories. And the old man called him Utuktu, Almost a moon ago, Elohim came in my dreams and told me that you are coming back.
Okay. There's little whispers everywhere.
Yeah,
Huh?
so at the same time that Elohim was telling Yeshua to go to Alexandria, he was also visiting the old man and telling him that his disciple,
He's on his way.
student will be back. Yeah. Yeah, you are the one that is coming, the blessed cup of the eternal. That's how he calls him. And Yeshua at that point, does not answer. He has to accept, and I think he's finally accepting, all the things that they say about him.
Right.
The fact that he's an utuktu, an avatar.
Right.
The fact that he's the cup of the eternal, the cup of God, So he's finally accepting all this stuff. And the name of the old man comes back to him, and his name is Master Hamza. Hamza, yeah.
Hamza.
Yeah, so Hamza explained to Yeshua what Elohim told him. And Elohim explained to Hamza basically that Yeshua must spend a little bit of time in the small community of students where Hamza is living. and he must teach those young people, the students, about therapy and prayers for the body and the soul.
Yeshua must be so happy, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Yeshua understands, why he must do that stuff. And in this little village, there is a therapeutic community which is actually running out of steam, And the reason they have many students, but the teachers are becoming old and are not being replaced.
Okay.
Yeah. And they need some kind of new energy to revive the school, And so Yeshua accepts his new assignment, and he liked that for his life, because he realized that he has been taught a lot for the past 30 years. He's now 30, right? Easily, perhaps even more. And for the past 30 years, a lot of people have been just teaching him, right? So it is now time for him to return the favor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And for the people who are interested by this small therapeutic or medical community, there is a philosopher, Philon, who in 100 years before BC talked about that school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and although this is not mentioned, but it's most likely Yeshua has been giving it a second wind by coming, because he's going to spend quite a few months and stay there. Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to be a teacher for a little while. Yeah. And he realized also that there is a lot of similarity between this little school and his Essenian fraternity and the Carmel School of Mystery. So he's going to teach the students health as an art form of living. Okay, and
we need schools like that.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we
do. Like for young kids.
Young men, young women. Is using very precise practices, which are also calling for a fusion between the soul, the body, and the spirit, which is important.
Very important.
Our modern medicine is only interested in the body. They don't care about the soul. They don't care about the spirit, right?
Right. They're not taught
They ignore it.
Yes. Yeah, I just think it needs to be added in there.
Well, yeah.
But that's a whole other story.
Right. And so during all the next few months, Yeshua is going to really enjoy teaching, and he finds a lot of peace and happiness in doing so. Yeah. And so every evening, they all meet in one of the main room, and there are men and women, old and youngs, all together. Again, just think about it. In the Hebraic tradition at that time, women could not do any of that.
Right.
They were not even supposed to be there, right? But in the Egyptian fraternity where he is now, there is no consideration about the sex, I mean, if you are capable of doing it, whether you're a man or woman, or young or old, they all participate together.
How nice is that?
Yeah. So they pray. And every 7 weeks, they have a celebration with food. And this celebration is to make a transition between the different levels that they are going through. Yeah. So, but after a few months, the sacred fire,
getting that itch to go.
Yeah, which is in Yeshua, is rising again. So he wants to move on, yeah. And during one of the meetings at night, one woman, takes the center stage, and she officially asks Yeshua, to stay with them and not continue his journey to other horizons.
Everybody wants him to stay.
Yeah, they said, you have to stay with us.
Wherever he goes, stay.
And Yeshua is touched by this request, but the need for him to continue, his journey is way much stronger than that. Yeah. So he's discussing with Master Hamza, the options and what is his next destination. And Yeshua tells Hamza, last night I had a message again. I have to travel south a little bit, and I cannot stay here. They told me that men will wait for me, and they will take me to another place, and that will be all. Or rather, it will just be the beginning, the starting of my new life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Yeshua turns to Hamza and asks him, do you want to follow me? Do you want to come with me?
Mm-hmm.
And Hamza is very touched by this request, coming from
an avatar.
An avatar like Yeshua, But he tells him, I'm blind. I mean, how do you want me to follow you?
Right.
I know my way around the village, but, what?
I'll just handicap you.
Yeah. And at that point, an incredible wave of energy is coming through Yeshua's body.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. And the way he's doing it is quite interesting. We have some details. So he's putting some saliva on both of his thumbs, okay? And then he's going to blow on them, bringing the breath, to it. And he's going to place both of his thumbs on the closed eyes of Hamza.
Ah, okay.
And he's going to massage the eyes, gently, carefully, slowly, knowing deep inside him that the result will be positive.
He'll be healed.
Yeah, he will be healed.
He'll be seen.
And after a long moment of silence, Yeshua removed his hands, his thumbs, and placed his hands on his knees. And Hamza opens his eyes, his eyelids were closed for many, many years.
Right.
And tears start running on his cheeks. And he says, Master. And at one point, Hamza just stands up and leaves the room and goes into another room to cry. So he regained his vision, basically. Yeah.
I think you're like really living this when you're reading it and then when you're telling us about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, of course, the news is going to go through the school again. Everybody will hear about that. Yeah. It's like lightning, right?
Right.
And Yeshua and Hamza realized that, okay, they have to take an emergency decision, and they decided to leave that same night.
Oh, yeah.
They decided to leave.
Yeah.
So they grab a donkey, Yeshua puts Master Hamza, who is an old man, probably 80 years old,
right,
on the donkey, and then he leads the donkey, and most of them are leaving.
Did they say anything about how long he was blind?
No, they didn't say anything, but, it's probably, he taught Yeshua 25 years ago. Okay.
So
somewhere between, it could have been blind for the past 10 years or 15 years. It's difficult to say. Yeah. But the point is that he regained his eyesight.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's the most important. Yes. Yeah. And at that point, they are now walking to the city in direction of Heliopolis, and they are going to arrive to a little lake which is called the Lake of Moeris, in another little community where everybody speaks Greek. Again, so Yeshua is actually very grateful of the classes that he got when he was at the Carmel School of Mystery.
He was learning Greek.
He was learning Greek and plants, Greek and all the flowers and everything.
Right.
And so he's very grateful about the teaching of Brother Joachim, in the Carmel School, And they're going to spend, Hamza and Yeshua are going to spend a week around that little lake, on the shore of the lake, And one night, 3 men dressed with white robes and white turbans, are coming to see Yeshua. And they ask him, Master Yeshua? And Yeshua say, it is I, it's me. And the first man kneels down in front of Yeshua and places his hands on Yeshua's feet, And for the first time, Yeshua is letting him do it.
Oh.
You remember that every time when Melkus tried to do it, he would lift them up, and pick them up.
Right.
Yeah, so
he's coming into his own right now, right?
He's finally accepting his status,
Right.
the true nature of his divinity. Yeah. So this is the end of this episode, which was a little bit long, but we ask you to stay tuned for the next one,
which is the last one for the series,
the last
right?
one for the coverage of the first book.
Of
Yes,
the first book.
yeah. And I don't want to unveil what will happen in the next one, but the next one will explain how Yeshua becomes Christ.
Oh, okay. Oh, very good. Well, stay tuned. Oh, thank you so much for coming in and taking a listen to this really beautiful story. And we'll see you soon again.
Yeah, and as we move forward, we will be coming to what is better known story of Yeshua, although, all the scripture which has been written about him are quite different from his real life. Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
But we will be showing all this stuff.
Thank you.